Well, hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your esteemed host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Sony Pictures' new superhero comic book film, Madam Web, which is currently out in theaters for all of our delight. How are we doing, everybody? Happy Valentine's Day, as this film was released on Valentine's Day. But even though Valentine's Day is a day of love, there is no love being slung the way of Madam Web, whether it's on websites or other review podcasts and stuff like that. And sadly, not here either. Madam Web is a 2024 superhero film based on a Marvel Comics character of the same name. It is released by Sony Pictures, and this is the fourth film in Sony's Spider-Man universe that doesn't contain Spider-Man. We had the two Venom films, we had Morbius, and we have this film. Madam Web is directed by S.J. Clarkson, and it stars Dakota Johnson as Madam Web. We also have Sydney Sweeney, Charlize O'Connell, Isabella Marcet, Tahar Rahim, Mike Epps, Emma Robinson, and Adam Scott. This film follows Cassie Webb, portrayed by Dakota Johnson, who confronts her past while trying to save three young women and their futures from Ezekiel Sims. Let's cut straight to the chase here. This is a bad movie. This movie was so bad. I was fighting for my life watching this film for the whole 1 hour and 48 minutes. I was literally fighting for my life not to walk out. I had to make myself sit there, and it's similar to torture. You know, I was just forcing myself to watch this film, finish this film, and somehow try to review this film. And so I was sitting there just like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And it was like nothing happened. And I'm still right now, and I'm about 2 hours, 3 hours removed from watching it, and I still don't know what I watched. I don't know what to say. There is not one positive thing I can say about this movie. Not one. It is that bad. This film made me like Morbius. This movie made me want to go watch Morbius again. And I never thought in a million years a superhero film could be worse than that. You know, I'm talking Fantastic Four from 2015 levels bad. I'm talking Batman and Robin, you know, the George Clooney one, levels bad here. This was a dumpster fire of a movie. And look, this brings me no joy. This brings me zero joy to badmouth this movie. Number one, I had no expectations going into it. I had a feeling it was going to be bad. It just looked bad from the trailer. The trailer looked horrible. That was one of the worst trailers I've ever seen. And I can honestly say, on Sony's case, the trailer looked horrible and the movie fit that trailer. It was that bad. It was nothing more to this film. If you watched the trailer, you saw the movie. And it wasn't spoiling anything or nothing. It's nothing to be spoiled here. By the way, speaking of spoilers, I'm going to spoil this movie because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't lead up to nothing. It's not going to shock you. It's not going to blow your socks off when you see certain elements in this film. But in the event that you really want to see Madam Web and you don't want to be spoiled by it, here's your warning. Here's your warning right now. We're at the 5-minute mark. Stop it here. Go watch it. Come back and see if you feel the way I feel. Or you're going to come back, listen to the show, and then let me know that I was 100% wrong. And please, I want those individuals to contact the show. I really need to hear your reasoning why this movie was good. But this movie tried. Well, no, that's a lie. Because I was gonna say they tried to find an intelligent way to tell the origins of Madam Web, and that's a lie. They didn't. There was nothing intelligent about it. There's no thought that went into this movie. There was no type of character building or character backstory that made you want to root for Cassie Webb. There was nothing about this screenplay that made you want to cheer for this young lady. To be honest with you, there was nothing in the screenplay to make you want to cheer for the three quote unquote Spider Women in this film. Nothing. Nothing. Yes, the three young actresses who I named, Sydney Sweeney, Khalees O'Connell, and Isabella Marcet, they play versions of Spider Women. In some sorts, because this is quote unquote an origin story for their characters, even though they never become those characters. We see them in the costumes and not flashbacks, but flash forwards in the story. And it's like, why? Why was this even a part of the film? Now, they tried to explain it away as these are the three young ladies as their characters of Spider Women that took out Ezekiel Sims in the future, and he's hunting them down to kill them kind of in the past before they able to kill him in the future. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. To put things in perspective, in the comics, Madam Web is a supporting character for Spider-Man. Madam Web is never a main character in the Spider-Man comic book series because there's nothing to that character. You know, it's an interesting character. Don't get me wrong. She's a clandestine. She's a procognitive mutant. You know, she's very interesting in that case. You know, but she's blind. She's paralyzed. She's a telepath. I mean, she got all that, but she's just there to support Spider-Man in certain issues of the comics. Nothing there. There's no dare there. And they tried to give a dare in this film, and this made no sense. Like I said, I had zero expectations going into this film. And how can you not even meet that as an expectation? They couldn't meet the zero. I was fully expecting a little campy, dumb comic book movie. You know, something that you may find in the late 90s or the early 2000s. I didn't even get that. This made no sense whatever. There was no action in this movie. Zero. Now, if you want to count the last fight at the bottom, the last fight at the end of this movie, it's fine. But I wouldn't even consider that action. It was just clumsiness. You know, there was no structure to the action because there wasn't any. Now, this is a first-time filmmaker. Well, not first time. She's prominent in television work, but this is her first major motion picture or motion picture period. S.J. Clarkson. This was her first film, and you could tell. Oh my God, you could tell. And that's not a shot, because if I ever made a movie and it was my first movie, it would probably look just like this. You know, it would probably look just like this. But it wouldn't be a big budget superhero film like this. I wouldn't be given the green light for a movie like this. I don't know why she was given the green light for a movie like this. This wasn't the right film for her. This wasn't it. This movie tried to give us little Easter eggs to the Spider-Man lore. Okay, her partner, like I said, this is spoilers. Her partner, because she's a paramedic, her partner is Ben Parker. That's who rides with her in the ambulance. Ben Parker, who is the uncle of Peter Parker. Okay, fine. Fine. And that's who Adam Scott plays in this film. Now, if there was one takeaway that I can say, okay, that was good, it was Adam Scott. Adam Scott did a pretty good job, you know, because he had a small role. It really wasn't a big role, didn't affect the movie, didn't need to be in the movie. It didn't need to be there. He did not need to be there. Speaking of not needing to be there, since we had Ben Parker in the film, no, we didn't get Aunt May. We didn't get May. Now he mentioned to Cassie that he had a date. He started dating this girl and he think he's in love and blah blah blah. It, you know that is May. All right, fine. You know, even though they never mentioned or never show her, whatever. But we do get to see Mary Parker. Who's Mary Parker, you ask? That is the mother of Peter Parker. And she's pregnant. And she's played by Emma Robinson, who is the real life niece of Julia Roberts. But yes, she has a role in this film. She's pregnant. Okay. We all know who the baby is. We know that that's Peter in her stomach. All right, that's cute and all. Nice little Easter egg. But as the movie goes on, she pops up again and she goes into labor 4 weeks ahead of schedule and have Peter at the end of the movie for reasons it had no bearing on the plot, on the story, on anything in this movie. They just did it to say, oh, Peter Parker was in it, technically. It was like, man, come on, man. Now you're playing with my emotions. So stupid. It made zero sense. Let's break down the cast here. Let's start with the star of this film, Dakota Johnson, who I actually like. I like Dakota Johnson, even in those horrible 50 Shades of Grey movies. I like Dakota Johnson, who is the real life daughter of Don Johnson from Miami Vice fame and Melanie Griffith. That's her parents. And so obviously she's a beautiful woman with that gene pool. And she is a beautiful young lady. And she can act. Seen her in other films. She can act. Really good performer. What was this? What was this? I've never watched a close to 2-hour film where an actor has the same facial expression for every single emotion, whether they were sad, happy, frightened, mad. It was the same facial expression, same tone of voice, same everything. And I'm like, what is going on right now? Did you truly take this role for the paycheck? If that's the case, fine. I feel you. Get your money. But at least put on a little effort here. And mind you, like I said, the woman can act. Then seen her act. So she's a really good actress. I honestly don't understand what was happening here. Now, there were a couple of scenes, and I mean a couple, where she tried to give emotion or some weight to her character. You know, there was a couple of scenes, but it was just those couple of scenes, and immediately went back to the stone face. You know, it was like, what is going on with her here? I don't know if it was the editing, the writing, the direction. I don't know. Or it could have been her acting. I don't know. Or a combination of all. Possibility. But man, this was not a good outing for her here. Sydney Sweeney, who love her in Euphoria, loved her in Anyone But You, the film that came out about a month or so ago. Loved her in that. This movie, jeez, Jesus. I mean, as much as I'm bad mouthing Dakota Johnson for her performance, Sydney Sweeney was worse. She was worse than her. It was like they had a contest going on set. Who can underperform the worst? You know what I'm saying? It was like a race being ran. Oh, I can do this worse than you. Oh yeah, show me. And it was like, oh my, the whole movie, the whole movie, especially when they had scenes together. Oh my goodness, it was like watching two cars collide, man. It was amazing. Our villain here, Ezekiel Sims, played by Tahir Rahim, who I haven't seen in anything else. I think he was in Napoleon, and that's not a good gauge because I didn't really care for Napoleon last year. But uh, I haven't seen him in much here, in the past. But man, they gave this dude nothing. They gave him nothing, and I can clearly see that he was trying. I give him an A for effort. He was trying to give something to this character, but there was nothing to give. It was nothing on the page that he can elevate into something, and he was really trying. I honestly, I look forward to seeing him in other things. I actually saw something there in his performance that he was trying to get through. He just couldn't. He couldn't get it through because of the screenplay, because of the direction here. He was a mustache trailing villain, and that's it. He was a mustache trailing villain, but he was trying to break that. Throughout he was really trying to break that, and he couldn't. He, he couldn't. It was like he was being held back, and you could tell. You could. It was so obvious. You could tell. But man, look, it was just bad performance wise all around. To be honest with you, it just didn't work. And that's mainly because of the screenplay. Like I said, the screenplay was, uh, it felt AI written. It was very, very vanilla. Nothing to make you scratch your head and think, to make you ponder about life or anything else. It was just there. It was like the studio just said, you know what? We own the rights to Spider-Man. And so we've done Venom, we've done Morbius, we're sharing Spider-Man with the MCU, with Marvel. Miles Morales is doing his thing in animation. Let's see what else can we take out of the Spider-Verse that we can make a movie out of. Oh, Madam Web. Madam Web. What is that character? Well, she's a blind, paralyzed telepath. Okay, what about her? That's it. Well, hey, let's just throw something against the wall, see what sticks. And that's what they did here. Oh my God, this is so bland. This was such a boring movie with no message, nothing. You have a film, you have a female director, you have female leads here. There's a lot you could have went here. There's a lot of ways you could have went. The female empowerment, the things of that nature. I'm with that. I'm cool with that. If you would have went that route, we didn't get that. We didn't even get that. It was nothing here that made you want to stand up and cheer. Nothing. Until the very end. I did stand up and cheer at the very end. You know why? Because it was over. Madam Web, which is currently in theaters, gets a letter grade of an F. Man, what a bad movie. This is setting the bar for the rest of 2024. Because will we get a film worse than Madam Web? I don't know. I pray we don't. But this is well, not a high bar to clear. This is a low bar to clear. I'm talking in the dirt type bar. This is this is bad. If anything else come out this year that's worse than this, they deserve. They don't even deserve to be released in theaters, man. This is horrible, and it gives me hope actually for the rest of the year, because I think the quota is set. This is so bad we can't go nowhere but up. We can't go nowhere but up after this. Oh my God, Madam Web. Lord have mercy. I would like to know, did you go see Madam Web? Are you planning to go see Madam Web even after this glowing review? of the film, I would love to know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look up the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Search for the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. Subscribe and like this video if you don't mind. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Sony Pictures' new Spider-Man universe that doesn't contain Spider-Man film, Madam Web. Can't wait to speak to you on the next go around. I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone until we speak again. You all be blessed.